Hey, everybody, welcome to this week's episode of my Apostolic Diaries, counting down the weeks to my apostleship commissioning. And so I have been working day and night, mostly night and night because I work during the day, on my apostleship portfolio and praxis. And I was recounting the journey through the office of the prophetic to the office of the apostle. I should say through the office of the prophet to the office of the apostle, and really had a laughing moment that I just had to share with you. And I remember in reflecting when the day I said, wait, I'm not a prophet, I'm actually going to be an apostle. Now, early in the game with Dr. Price, she always prophesied to me in various ways that this was going to be my ultimate destination, but really didn't get a handle on what that meant, what it would look like, because quite honestly, it wasn't time. And so, as the traits of the apostles' mantle began to pop up and the sentiments, my mind began to shift. The way I looked at life was never quite the same anyway as the prophets and the prophetic company. So many things became clear. What are some of those things? And many of you have asked before, talk about when you realized you were not really a prophet and when you were going to become an apostle. And so today I just want to touch on how even in this whole journey, I didn't see the world as the other prophets did. I didn't prophesy the way the prophets did. I didn't think or come to conclusions the way they did. And I just thought it was because I was raised Assemblies of God, even though one of the other prophets was as well, Prophet Adia. And I thought, well, maybe I'm just different. Everybody is their own person. Dr. Price always encouraged us to be our own people, not to be mimics or cookie cutters or exact replicas of one another or even her. And I was just going through the motions, never really feeling like I fit as a prophet. And so this might be you. You're wondering, am I called to be a prophet? Am I going to be an apostle? Now, just because you feel like you don't fit doesn't mean that you are not the office or that person. There are hallmark traits that are different in prophets and apostles. Apostles focus on there's always the governmental element of things. My focus and thrust and bugaboo and pet peeves always wrapped around order and structure, and we have to get this right, and it has to be right preferably the first time, and we have to go in and fix it. Guardianship was always and still is very pronounced in what I deem to be important. So initially, before coming to this revelation, it was just attached to, well, that's just your personality, which is where we start with people. Oh yeah, they're just really talkative. Oh, they're really flamboyant. Oh yeah, they're just really serious, whatever. If you're not looking at it from the perspective of who this person is and who they're called to be, and you're just thinking that's just their personality, then it's easy to miss a lot. I've learned so much from Dr. Price over the years as far as accurately and appropriately placing people. We have some people we talk about, they're very nitpicky, pick. And she said, but that's your quality control person. That's the person you're going to bring in when it's time to see to it that the project is right. You don't want to bring them in on the visionary casting vision phase because they think very finite, and brainstorming is not for finite thinking. And so just as an example of how I've learned to think and assess people and not just automatically slot them because you remind me of so-and-so, and they're just like, oh, yeah, that's just your personality thing. Oh, sure. But okay, so why is that? For what purpose does that fit? And so I am the charts and graphs, project management, like I said, order, structure, hierarchy, timelines, timing, all of that tied, as I began to accept, even though Dr. Price already knew, to apostleship. And interestingly enough, once in 2015, when Dr. Price said, maybe the tail end of 2014, she told me, I'm putting you in apostleship training because this thing is just popping up all over the place and it's just unruly. And you're just doing what's coming natural, and it's time to rein it in. Nobody really thought it would show up that early since I was 21 when I met Dr. Price and was just introduced to the prophetic and then apostolic and then apostleship with her. And so we really didn't think that at about 35, 36 years old, I would be transitioning into this. Even though when I go back and look at my original prophecies from her, she told me that by 40 years old, my identity, I would be locked in to who God made me to be. And I'm 39. My birthday is next May. I will be 40. So being commissioned at 39 and at 40, I'm all the way locked in to at least the beginnings of what this is supposed to be. I will say in this moment that prophecy sometimes can look inconsistent because quite honestly, our memories are faulty. And your faulty memory can sometimes give you a faulty outcome on your prophetics because you don't remember everything somebody said to you. You don't remember all of the words that God gave you, which is why it is important to journal or note or record or have some place that you can go back to and trace what he said. And so there were other things that she prophesied to me past the age of 40, but this was certainly one of them that did not have a big blaring sign that said, you will be an apostle by the time you're 40. But all of the prophecies were leading up to that. And like I was saying, interestingly enough, when I entered into the apostles training, all of a sudden my prophetics came together and made sense to me because I was operating them from the station, just the beginnings of the station that I would ultimately dispatch even my prophetics. So my prophetic mantle is sharper, it's clearer, it's incisive in ways that it never was before when I was only operating as a prophet. I was the assistant chief prophet in the prophetic company. And in June, I passed the title to someone else, to my successor. And I tell you what, that was the next layer, that the prophet that lifted off of me. And then I could jump right in to apostleship on a different level. These last 6 months in my training have been mind-blowing because I have been completely removed from the prophet's office and now can function apostolically. And so I just wanted to share that with you today. You know, nothing really deep, just these are my journals. So if I was writing this down, this would be a comedic entry for you. If you have any questions, let me know, post them. Hey, AIT, I want to know about this. I want to know about that. So I look forward to hearing back from you. God bless you all. And thanks for tuning in. Now listen, if you want to know more about my ministry, visit my website, www.drashley.com. It's here on the screen. Every Friday night, I have a midnight prayer broadcast. It's called In the Midnight Hour. I am the praying apostle. I was a praying prophet. I just believe in the power of prayer, always have. And prayer and intercession is one of my spheres that I can definitely move in quite freely. And so if you have a prayer request, I would like for you to email your prayer request, because this is how it works. You email your prayer request in to Dr. Ashley at drashley.com before midnight. Some people slide it in during the broadcast, and if I have time, I can get to it. And email your prayer request. Keep it, simple, conservative in nature if you can. And if you don't want to name names, that's absolutely fine. But I pray. And I pray on social media for you. So God bless you, and thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next week for my next episode of my Apostolic Diaries.